Welcome to Darkness in the Night. Tonight, let's journey together to a small riverside town in the Mekong Delta. Where there's a bridge called Rainbow Bridge, the locals whisper another name for it: Ghost Bridge. That night, a cold wind swept up from the river. The whole town was busy preparing for Tet, the sound of brooms sweeping yards. Pots of boiling bon Tet leaves bubbling in every house. But down by the riverbank, it was eerily silent, only the soft slap of water against an old wooden boat. Min sat quietly in that boat, rolling an unlit cigarette between his fingers. The dim oil lamp cast flickering light over his thin face. For years, he'd grown used to the river's chill, to the late-night mist, and to the waves whispering strange tales beneath the surface. Someone approached the dock. A woman's voice drifted through the dark. "Can you take me across the river, at this hour?" Min looked up. A woman stood there in a long white dress, her hair cascading over her shoulders, holding a small wicker basket. In the moonlight, her face looked pale, almost waterlogged. He hesitated, then nodded. "All right, but it's late, not many people cross to the other side now." "What brings you there?" She smiled faintly, a fragile, windy sound. "I'm going home. Across the river, just under the bridge." Min said nothing and dipped his oar. The boat glided slowly away from the dock. The moon shimmered on the rippling water, painting it with silver light. Midstream, the wind shifted. A rotten, fishy smell rose from the depths, like mud mixed with decay. Min frowned. "Do you smell that?" "It's familiar. That smell, back then too." Her voice trailed off, lost in the breeze. He turned toward her, about to ask more, when he noticed her hair clinging wetly to her cheeks. Droplets trickling down her dress. The moonlight gleamed on her skin like beads of sweat. A chill ran through him. You're wet?" "Yes, been wet, for a long time. Right here, in this river." The oar trembled in Min's grip. He forced his voice steady. "Someone drowned around this spot once." "Many did. A whole group of young men, the boat overturned, swept them away. Some bodies were never found." Min froze. That story, he knew it all too well. 12 years ago, right here, a group of friends had been drinking, racing boats at midnight. One capsized, 5 drowned, only Min survived. He'd run away from the village and only returned years later. His strokes slowed. The river darkened like ink. The moon faint above. The woman's voice came again, calm and low. "Do you remember any of them? Some still can't rest. Every New Year's Eve, they come back." Min let go of the oar and looked down. Beneath the surface, a faint shape drifted, pale, slow, human-like. The water was still, yet something white was moving. "Who's down there?" No answer. He turned. The woman was gone. Only the small basket remained on the bench, dripping water. Min's hands shook. Around him, the croaks of frogs and the wind through the bridge echoed hollowly. He grabbed the lamp and shone it toward the river. The yellow light rippled, and just below the surface, the woman's face appeared, staring up at him, eyes wide open, hair floating weightlessly. He screamed and fell backward. The boat rocked violently, nearly capsizing. Cold water splashed up his face. The wind howled. When he opened his eyes, the river was calm again. The basket still lay there, lid open. Inside, a white cloth and strands of wet black hair. Trembling, Min hurled it into the river. It floated for a moment, then slowly sank beneath the bridge. In the distance, the temple bell tolled midnight. Lunar New Year's Eve. Min sat motionless, heart pounding, breath ragged. The river wind cut cold against his skin. From somewhere deep in the dark, a hoarse voice called his name, faint, broken. "Min, come home?" He spun around, lamp raised, no one there. Only mist curling over the black river, and the Rainbow Bridge towering above, casting its shadow like a sleeping monster waiting for its next victim. Morning of Lunar New Year's Eve. A thick mist still blanketed the river. Min sat on the porch, his eyes bloodshot. He hadn't slept all night. kept hearing the murmur of water lapping against the floorboards, like someone whispering beneath them. From the kitchen came the bubbling sound of boiling water. A black cat sat in the corner, fur bristling, eyes fixed on the doorway. Min stood abruptly and walked down to the dock. The tide had receded slightly, exposing the roots of rotted trees. His old wooden boat was still moored there, tilting to one side, its floorboards damp. He bent down and noticed a few strands of long, wet hair stuck where he had been sitting. Good Lord, real hair? His hands trembled. He gathered it up and tossed it into the river. The water rippled once, then went still. A raspy voice called from behind him. Who did you ferry across last night? Min? It was old too, the aged ferryman, leaning on his cane as he came closer. His eyes narrowed at the sight of the boat. Min hesitated. Just a stranger. Wanted to cross to the other side. Tu smirked faintly. The other side? The river was high last night. No one would dare cross. And besides, there's no one living over there anymore. Min swallowed hard. She said she was going home, under the bridge. The old man sighed. Under the bridge, there's nothing but graves now. Son, the year those kids drowned. I remember it like it was yesterday. His words sliced through the cold air. Min lowered his head, heart pounding. Tu spoke again, softer this time. Be careful, boy, they're not at peace. Every New Year's Eve, the river turns muddy, like something's stirring underneath. I haven't gone near that dock at night in years. Min stayed silent. The water shimmered weakly under the pale morning light. He looked down and saw his reflection distorted, merging with another faint, shadowy figure beside it. That night, sleep still eluded him. The sound of water lapping against the stilts crept closer. The wind hissed through the thatched roof. Then came a knocking, slow, steady, thud, thud, thud. He bolted upright. Who's there? No answer. Only the sound of trickling water, then faint footsteps outside the porch. Min crept to the door and opened it. Moonlight shimmered over the river. A wet trail stretched from the porch down to the dock, as though someone had just walked up, leaving watery footprints behind. His voice quivered. Who's out there? A gust of wind slammed the door shut. The lamp flickered out. Darkness swallowed the room. In that silence, a woman's whisper brushed his ear. You ferried me across, but left me in the middle of the river. Min's face drained of color. I didn't. You said the same thing, back then. A freezing hand touched his shoulder. Min screamed, broke free, and ran out toward the dock. Moonlight spilled across the restless water, the air icy and sharp. He gasped, glancing around, no one, only wind and waves. Min collapsed at the edge, gripping the planks. Please, forgive me, I was young, I didn't mean to. The wind stilled, distant frogs croaked in the night. Then, from deep beneath the river, came a soft, breathy laugh. Tomorrow night, we'll meet again. The water before him began to swirl. A patch of black hair surfaced, floating downstream, carried toward Rainbow Bridge. Min stumbled backward, voice shaking. God help me. The bridge loomed through the mist, its shadow stretching long and dark under the moonlight. Below it, the current shimmered, waiting. Night fell faster than usual. Lights flickered on across the village. The crackle of electric firecrackers echoed, and the faint scent of incense drifted in the wind. Everyone was busy setting up their New Year offerings, everyone except Min, who quietly walked down to the riverbank. Beneath the bridge, the water was pitch black. The sound of gentle waves hitting the side of the boat was like a weary sigh. Min carried a bundle of incense and a bottle of rice wine. Kneeling at the dock, his trembling hands lit the incense. If any of you are still here, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was young. I didn't know any better. The wind picked up, tilting the oil lamp beside him. Its light flickered weakly. The surface of the river began to tremble, small whirlpools rippling outward. A woman's voice drifted through the dark. Do you remember now, this part of the river? You laughed so loud, swung the oar so hard, and we all went under. Min's whole body shook. He fell to his knees by the edge. I didn't mean to. I panicked. I ran. I was scared. Laughter echoed from beneath the water, blending with the howling wind. Scared? Huh, and who was scared for us? Figures began to surface, pale and shifting. Their faces were ghostly white, eyes wide open, water streaming from their mouths in thin rivulets. Min stumbled back, stammering, "Dear God, forgive me." A cold, slimy hand clamped around his ankle and yanked hard. He screamed, clawing at the planks. "Let go, don't pull me down." The woman's voice returned, calm, hollow. "You owe a life, time to repay it." The boat shuddered violently, water splashing everywhere. Min cried out as his grip slipped, his body plunged into the river. The water was icy, suffocating. He thrashed upward, swallowing the foul, muddy water. All around him, faces drifted, familiar faces, his old friends, staring at him through the darkness. One man reached out a hand. "Remember me? We never wanted to die. You were the one racing, laughing, steering too hard." Min tried to scream, but only bubbles escaped his mouth. His foot brushed something soft, slippery, the unmistakable touch of a corpse. On the bank, the oil lamp snuffed out. The wind howled through the bridge's beams, sounding like a long, mournful cry. Suddenly, a flashlight beam cut through the dark. Old Two's voice shouted, desperate, "Min, where are you, boy?" There was a violent splash, then silence. The old man rushed to the dock, shining his light over the water. Only Min's boat remained, drifting slowly away, empty. Breathing hard, Two swept his light around and froze. A white, soaked shirt was caught on one of the wooden posts. He whispered, trembling, "Not again, Lord, not again." By sunrise on the first day of the new year, Min's boat washed up on the far bank near the reeds. No one was inside. Only a small basket lay there, holding half-burned incense and a wet white cloth. Villagers murmured all day. Some said the river had claimed Min at last. Others swore he had run away. But every night after, when the moon rose, a small boat could be seen drifting across the river, no one aboard. Just the faint sound of oars stirring the water. And sometimes, for those brave enough to look down from the bridge, a pair of eyes could be seen beneath the dark surface, cold, still, and waiting. 3 days after Tet, the sun blazed mercilessly. The villagers had finished their feasts. Everyone was busy cleaning their homes, hanging laundry out to dry. The riverbank was quiet, broken only by the soft rustle of palm leaves swaying overhead. Old Two, the ferryman, sat silently beside a tangle of drifting water hyacinths, his eyes fixed on the river. The water had been strange lately, crystal clear by day. But come nightfall, it turned cloudy, like water used to wash rice. Han, the daughter of the nearby shop owner, walked past carrying a basket of fish. "Uncle Two, have you heard? They said someone saw Min, he came back." Two frowned. "Saw him? Where?" "Right under the bridge. Last night, my brother was fishing. He said he saw someone rowing a boat, but there wasn't a sound of water." A chill ran through the old man. "Nonsense. Min's dead. The river took him, body and all. People swear they saw him. Uncle, the moon was bright, the river still, they could even see a white shirt fluttering in the wind." Han shivered, hurriedly walked away, leaving Two staring after her, his chest tightening with unease. That night, he couldn't rest. The murmur of the river beneath the dock sounded almost like a whisper calling his name. He grabbed his flashlight and went outside. The river was calm, but out in the middle of the current, something drifted, faint, wavering. He aimed the beam. It was Min's old wooden boat. Good heavens, why is it back here again? He crouched, reaching with his pole to pull it closer. The water was icy cold. The boat was soaked through, covered in river moss. On its deck were wet footprints, small ones, stretching from bow to stern. He stepped back. Who's been here? From the water below came the sound of a paddle, soft, rhythmic, clunk, clunk, then silence. He swung the flashlight wildly. The wind began to rise. Under the bridge, he caught a glimpse of a figure, a woman in white. Long hair trailing, standing still, face tilted upward. Two staggered back, stammering. Who's there? The woman smiled faintly. Take me across? Her voice was thin and cold, like breath over icy water. Two's hands trembled, the flashlight slipped and fell. Darkness swallowed everything, only the sound of water slapping against the shore remained. When he bent down to retrieve the light and looked up again, she was gone. A clump of black hair floated on the surface, slowly wrapping around the old boat's oar. The next morning, the villagers gathered by the river. Wet footprints covered the dock. Inside the small watch hut, they found old Two collapsed, body cold, eyes wide open, lips frozen around two final words. Ghost, bridge? The story spread like wildfire. No one dared cross the river at night anymore. Rainbow Bridge became deserted. Only the sound of howling wind and the shimmer of moonlight on water remained. Since that night, Han swore she heard faint knocks against her wall, slow, even, like someone tapping a paddle. Clunk, clunk, clunk. One night, she gathered her courage and opened the door. The moon hung above the bridge. On the river below, a small boat drifted silently by, no one rowing. Only a pale figure sat hunched at the stern, long hair covering her face, the hem of her white dress fluttering in the wind. Horrified, Han slammed the door and clutched her chest. Outside, the river whispered endlessly, and somewhere in the dark, a voice called softly, "Take me across?" That night, Han's house was silent. Her mother had gone to a memorial feast in the next hamlet, leaving her alone with the family dog, Muck, lying by the door. The wind from the river slipped through the bamboo walls, carrying a strange, fishy smell. Crickets chirped outside, and the river lapped gently against the bank. Han sat sewing by the dim oil lamp when she suddenly heard what sounded like breathing. She paused, looking up. The little house flickered in soft, unsteady light. Then came a knock. Knock, knock, knock. Muck's fur bristled. He growled low. "Who's there?" No answer, only the quiet trickle of water by the porch. Her hands trembled as she stepped closer to the door. "Who's knocking? Say something." Still nothing. She turned to go back inside, and from the crack of the door came a faint, icy whisper. "Take me across?" Her face went pale. The needle fell from her hand. She stumbled backward, tripped over a stool, and fell. Muck barked wildly, then suddenly tucked his tail and dove under the bed. Han pushed herself up, breathing hard, and pulled the curtain aside with shaking hands. Under the moonlight, the porch glistened with water. Across the dirt floor were small, wet footprints, bare and delicate, leading all the way down toward the riverbank. She gasped, slammed the door shut, and bolted it. The wind howled through the cracks. The oil lamp flickered, then died. In the dark, she heard footsteps on the wooden floor, slow, heavy, deliberate. Then a weak breath from the corner. "I'm so cold." Han clutched her chest, her voice trembling. "Who's there? Please, don't scare me." No answer. The air thickened with the damp stench of the river. She turned, and in the far corner, something white glimmered faintly in the moonlight. A soaked white dress. A figure, head bowed, long hair hanging wet over her face. Han screamed and collapsed. When she came to, she was alone, the house drenched, floorboards covered in tiny wet footprints. At dawn, her mother returned and found her unconscious, her skin cold as ice, hair soaked as if she'd just been pulled from the river. Her mother panicked. "What happened, child? Why are you drenched?" Han opened her eyes weakly, voice hoarse. "Mom, under the bridge, someone called me." Her mother ran to fetch Thay Ba, the village spiritual healer. After listening quietly, he nodded grimly. "The old curse, no one's dared speak of it for decades. Now it's awake again." He pulled out a small pouch made of dried banana leaves and handed it to her. "Tonight, place this by your door. Don't open it, no matter who knocks. Don't answer. Even if someone calls your name, stay silent. Han nodded, though her hands still shook. That voice, asterisk, take me across, asterisk, kept echoing in her mind. Night fell. She did as the healer said, sitting by the oil lamp clutching her knees. Muck curled beside her feet. Outside, the mist thickened, blanketing everything white. Then came the knock. Knock, knock, knock. Muck barked frantically, then went silent. Han bit her lip, covered her ears, and curled tighter. The knocking grew faster. Knock, 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 knock. Then silence. She opened her eyes slowly. A cold gust seeped through the cracks. Snuffing out the flame, a whisper brushed her ear. Take me across? She screamed, bolting for the door, dropping the charm pouch. On the porch sat a figure, hair dripping wet, head tilted upward, smiling faintly. The smile was bluish, cold as river water. Han collapsed, eyes wide open. The door swung in the wind. Outside, only a trail of wet footprints remained, leading toward the bridge. The next morning, the whole village was in an uproar. They had found Han's body floating near the dock, eyes wide open, mouth tangled with river weeds. Thay Ba, the village spiritual healer, was there. He stared quietly at her for a long moment before sighing. Rainbow Bridge has claimed another soul. A group of old women gathered nearby, whispering, "Didn't something like this happen years ago, Thay?" "Yes," asterisk another said. Asterisk that boat girl, Mrs. Sao's daughter. She heard someone calling, "Take me across," and vanished the same way. Thay Ba walked slowly down to the water's edge. He knelt, scooped a handful of river water, and sniffed it. It was dark, fishy, and ice cold. He muttered under his breath, "It's awakened, truly awakened this time." That night, Min was summoned to Thay Ba's house. The small hut flickered with the light of an oil lamp. The air was thick with the scent of burning incense. Min sat cross-legged on the mat, hands clasped tightly, voice trembling. "Thay, I saw her, the night I ferried across. She called to me, right at midnight by the bridge." The old man studied him, eyes deep and shadowed. "She wore a white dress, hair covering her face. Didn't she?" "Yes, that's her." Thay Ba nodded grimly. "Then she's come for you. Think back, 12 years ago. The night you and your friends threw stones from the bridge, remember?" Min lowered his head, eyes reddening. "I remember, but we were just fooling around. None of us thought that little boat would tip over. It was an accident." "That was no accident, son. She died unjustly, drowned on New Year's Eve. Her spirit's been trapped ever since. Unable to move on." Min's voice broke. "What should I do, Thay? You must return to the river this year. On the very night of the 30th. Release floating lanterns yourself to pray for her soul. But remember this, don't let her touch you. If she lays a hand on you, it's over." Min nodded silently. Outside, the wind moaned against the thatched roof, sounding eerily like someone weeping. From an old chest, Thay Ba took out a yellow cloth embroidered with ancient symbols. "Keep this with you. When you hear the water slap 3 times, close your eyes and repeat these words in your heart. The living repay. The dead rest in peace. Remember them well." Min bowed, taking the cloth with trembling hands. That night, he returned home. The river wind felt colder than ever. He stared toward Rainbow Bridge. The moonlight shimmered on the water, fractured like a broken mirror. He whispered to himself, 12 years, she must still hate me." A cold gust blew past, and faintly, a voice replied, "I've waited long enough." Min spun around. No one was there. Only the moon's reflection rippled across the river, and strangely, his own shadow seemed to have its head bowed. His heart pounded. Then, 3 splashes, the water striking the dock. He remembered Thay Ba's words, closed his eyes, and whispered the chant, but before he could finish, the wind howled, and the river surged upward as if something deep beneath was stirring. A pale hand broke the surface, gripping the edge of the boat. The voice, low, familiar, chilling, rose from the dark. "Take me across?" Min dropped his oar, collapsing to his knees. I'm sorry. I was foolish, please. Forgive me. The water stilled. Silence. Then, as he opened his eyes, he saw her, a figure in white standing under the bridge. Waist deep in water, her back turned, long wet hair clinging to her shoulders, slowly sinking beneath the surface. Min fell against the side of the boat, tears mingling with the cold river spray. His voice choked. Suddenly, from the depths below, came a guttural laugh, wet and strangled, like someone laughing with a throat full of water. Debt, not yet paid? The wind screamed. Rainbow Bridge groaned, its wooden beams creaking like bones. The river frothed and swirled violently. Min clutched his chest, gasping. Thay Ba, help me. Far away, the temple's wooden bell tolled, bong, bong, but it could not drown out the sound of laughter rising from the river's depths. After that night, the night he saw the ghost of the woman in white, Min fell gravely ill. He lay weak for days, unable to move. When Thay Ba came to visit, he brought a bundle of herbs for steaming and several charms to paste around the house. Lighting incense, the old man looked toward the bridge, his voice low and steady. She touched you already. The chill in your body, that's her yin energy clinging to you. Min sat slumped against a pillar, his face pale and drained. She said the debt isn't paid yet. Thay, how can I end this? Thay Ba sighed deeply. To pay the debt, you have to understand the bridge's beginning. He poured himself some tea, took a slow sip, then began to tell the story. Long ago, there was no bridge, only a small ferry dock. The ferryman was old Nam Lee and his wife. Good, humble folk who made a living rowing people across the river. But one year, during the floods, their daughter drowned midstream. Her body was never found. Heartbroken, the couple abandoned the village. Years later, when they built the bridge, disaster struck on the very first day. The river swelled and swept away 3 workers. People said it was the ferryman's daughter's spirit pulling them down. Since then, every night, someone would see a white-clad figure sitting alone on the bridge rail. Min shivered. So, do people worship her now? Thay? They used to. When the bridge was finished, the villagers built a small shrine at its end. Every year on New Year's Eve they'd offer incense. But 12 years ago, when you threw those stones that flipped the boat, everyone grew terrified and tore the shrine down. Without its guardian, the spirit grew stronger. He paused, eyes narrowing on Min. Since then, whenever the river rises, she claims another life, and oddly, she only comes for those who cross at midnight on New Year's Eve. Min's voice was barely a whisper. I ferried a passenger across, exactly at that hour. Thay Ba nodded slowly. Then she's bound to you now. Outside, the wind slammed against the bamboo wall, making the panels rattle. Suddenly, the rooster in the yard crowed, though it was still midday. The old man's eyes darted toward the door. The yin is here. He pulled a red incense stick from his pocket, planted it at the doorway, and murmured a chant. Gray smoke rose, twisting upward, then drifted toward the river. She's nearby, circling the house. Min's voice shook. Thay, is she following me? Maybe not her. Maybe the old bridge keeper. Min's eyes widened. There was a keeper? Yes, old Bei Jiang. The villagers paid him to watch the shrine and guard the bridge each night. But he died quietly, found days later under the bridge. Skin purple, hair matted with water, eyes wide open. Min swallowed hard. So, he's still down there? I can't say, but ever since his death, whenever Tet draws near, the bridge makes a hollow knocking sound, like his hammer striking wood, calling people to cross. Thay Ba lit 3 more incense sticks and planted them side by side. If you want to survive, you must return to that bridge on New Year's Eve, but you won't go alone. Who will go with me? Thay? I will. His tone was firm. We'll seek the bridge keeper. If he's willing to speak, he'll tell us how to seal that wandering spirit for good. Min looked up, fear and fragile hope flickering in his eyes. Thay, I'm terrified. Be scared all you want. But you must go. If you hide, she won't forgive you. That bridge is hungry." A gust of wind rushed through, carrying a sound that almost resembled mocking laughter. Min flinched, turning toward the doorway. A shadow glided past, faint, sliding across the wall. Thay Ba gripped the burning incense tightly and whispered. She heard everything. "Get ready, son. This New Year's Eve will not be peaceful." It was deep into the night. Mist rolled thick over the river, swallowing the light. Thay Ba wore a gray ceremonial robe, holding a bundle of incense and a small offering of betel and areca leaves. He told Min to row the boat out to the center, beneath the bridge. The river was still, but not peaceful. The water was black as ink, rippling with small, uneasy swirls, as if something beneath was turning in its sleep. Min gripped the oar tightly, voice trembling. "Thay, are you sure he'll show up tonight?" Thay Ba's tone was calm but heavy. "If our hearts are sincere, he'll come. If not, the other one will come first." Min swallowed hard, moonlight reflecting on his pale, anxious face. The old man began to chant softly, each word deliberate. "We call upon you, Bei Jiang, guardian of the old bridge. Please come forth and guide us, so we may offer the right rites, to calm the waters and bring peace to the people." The incense smoke coiled outward over the river, drifting like a veil. The wind stilled, the crickets went silent, only the faint tapping of water against the hull remained. Then, clack, 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 3 distinct knocks echoed from beneath the bridge. Dry and hollow, like a hammer striking wood. Min's hands tightened around the oar. "Thay, that sound?" "Yes, it's him. Don't look back." Thay Ba pulled an ancient coin from his robe and flicked it into the river. It struck the surface with a metallic clang, echoing like steel against steel. A dark figure rose slowly from the depths, first a blur, then taking form. It was an old man, frail and thin, dressed in a tattered brown shirt. His hair was white, skin wrinkled, eyes sunken deep. The water flowed through him. He was there, yet not. Min trembled. "Thay, I see him." "Don't be afraid. Bow your head." Thay Ba clasped his hands. "Sir Bei, we come seeking your guidance, to bind the vengeful spirit that haunts this bridge and drags the living down." The spirit stared blankly, voice raspy like wind scraping over stone. "This bridge still reeks of blood. This water still holds hatred. Pray wrong, and the souls will never rest." Thay Ba asked quietly, "What must we do to bring peace, sir?" The ghost lifted a trembling hand and pointed toward the river. Beneath the surface, a faint light shimmered, and faces appeared. Dozens of them, eyes wide, mouths open, hair floating like dark seaweed. Min gasped. "Dear God, so many dead?" 12, the ghost said grimly. "Each year, she takes one more to make 13. This bridge is built on bones, not wood." Thay Ba clenched his jaw. "So we must honor all 13? No." The ghost's tone hardened. "The one who caused it must go into the water. Only then can it be sealed." Min froze. "You mean, me?" The ghost's milky eyes locked onto him. "Blood for blood, the river remembers." Thay Ba interjected sharply. "Sir Bei, the boy regrets it. There must be another way." The old spirit shook his head slowly. His voice cut through the chill air. "The bridge is a gate between worlds. Whoever opened it must close it." With that, his form dissolved into mist and sank beneath the water. Instantly, the river roared to life. Waves rose and crashed around the boat. Min clung to the side, shouting, "Thay, I don't want to die." "Hold steady," Thay Ba barked. "As long as I stand, nothing will take you." He grabbed the yellow talisman cloth from his bag and hurled it into the river. The living repay, the dead rest in peace. A burst of light shot upward, the waves exploded, and then everything went still. Min collapsed, gasping, his body shaking uncontrollably. Thay Ba steadied himself on his cane, sweat streaming down his face. "He hasn't forgiven you yet," the old man muttered, Asterisk, that was only a warning. Min sat motionless, staring at the river's surface. The water lay calm again, the moon reflecting clear and silver. But in the moon's reflection, a pale face began to form, the girl in white. She looked at Min, her eyes sorrowful, her lips curling into a faint, broken smile, and then vanished. Thay Ba whispered under his breath. This is only the beginning. Son, when New Year's Eve comes, if we fail to seal the bridge, the whole village will be dragged down with it. For several nights, Min could barely sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw himself standing in the middle of the river, water rising to his neck. On the bridge above, the girl in white stood watching him, her wet hair hanging down, her pale smile fading in the mist. She reached out her hand and whispered softly, "Help me cross the river?" Min jolted awake, drenched in sweat, gasping for air. Outside, the waves lapped rhythmically, like the slow, steady breath of someone waiting for death. He stepped onto the porch and looked toward Rainbow Bridge. The full moon of the 16th night stretched its light across the water. Beneath it, a shadow sat motionless. He squinted. It wasn't his imagination. A small figure was there, crouched, long hair trailing into the river. Min muttered to himself, "Ko, is that really you?" No answer, only the faint sound of water brushing against the banks. Then, from afar, a woman's whisper floated through the night. "Do you remember me?" Min stumbled back, his heart pounding. "Who's there?" "It's me, the girl you threw the rock at years ago." His voice shook. "I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I truly am." The cold voice echoed again. "Sorry doesn't bring the dead back. Do you think the river forgets?" The wind picked up, churning the water violently. From the middle of the river, pale hands rose out of the dark surface, clutching at the air, then vanished. Min collapsed to the ground, mumbling through chattering teeth, "Thay Ba, help me." The next evening, he went to the old shaman's house. The door was shut tight, the inside pitch black. Min knocked several times, but no one answered. He circled to the back and saw a window slightly open. Through it, he spotted Thay Ba sitting before the altar, eyes closed, both hands trembling as he held a half-burned talisman. "Thay, what's wrong?" The old man opened his eyes, voice hoarse and heavy. "She came for me. That girl isn't an ordinary ghost. There's something behind her, something far stronger." "Behind her? Who could that be, Thay?" Thay Ba looked at Min for a long moment before speaking softly. "Do you even know who your grandfather was?" Min frowned in confusion. "Ma said he died young. I never met him." The old man sighed deeply. "Your grandfather was Nam Li, the ferryman who lost his daughter in that drowning years ago." Min froze. "My God, that means..." "Yes, your blood is tied to the river's curse. The girl in white is your father's younger sister, your own aunt." Min. He went pale, mind spinning. "I killed my own aunt? Not on purpose, but the river doesn't care about intention. It only remembers who caused the pain." Thay Ba stood and lit another stick of incense, his tone grim. "She's not a wandering ghost anymore. She's become a water spirit, the guardian of the river, demanding the bridge's purity be restored. To make peace, you must meet Beijian again. This time, you go alone." Min's face drained of color. "Alone? I can't." "You must. Your blood is bound to hers. Only you can speak to her as kin." Min lowered his head, tears dripping onto the floor. "Thay, I'm terrified. Anyone with sin is, but if you keep running from it, the curse will never leave you." Outside, thunder rumbled though the sky was clear. The distant sound of temple drums echoed, slow and solemn, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. Thay Ba took out a dark wooden bracelet and handed it to him. "This is agarwood, your grandfather's. Wear it when you go. Call to her as family. If there's even a drop of mercy left in her soul, she'll stop. If not..." He paused. Min looked up, voice trembling. "If not, what will happen, Thay?" "Then the bridge will sink." The air grew heavy, pressing down like iron. Min clutched the bracelet tightly, staring toward the door. Outside, the moon had just risen, its pale glow spilling across the river. A sudden gust swept through the room, snuffing out the oil lamp. In the darkness, a soft voice brushed against Min's ear, gentle, mocking, cold. "I'll be waiting on New Year's Eve." He spun around. No one was there. Only a single wet strand of long black hair lay draped across the altar. Min stood silently by the riverbank. Above him, a thin crescent moon hung like a silver blade, fragile, yet sharp. The air was unnaturally still. Nearby houses had already gone dark, and only the faint cries of late summer cicadas lingered in the cold wind. He clutched the wooden bracelet tightly. The faint scent of agarwood rose from it, piercing straight into his chest. "I'm going now. Thay, I have to end this tonight." The wind picked up, rippling the river's surface. The old wooden boat creaked, its mooring rope groaning softly. Min stepped aboard and rowed out into the middle of the river. Each stroke of the oar echoed through the quiet night, and with every sound, the water seemed to sigh in reply. Min whispered, voice trembling, "Ko, if you can hear me, please, come out and meet me." The river was still for a moment. Then, from the distance, a thin white mist drifted over the surface, gliding low along the water. Within it, a faint figure appeared, a woman in a long white dress. Her hair soaked, her skin pale as wax. "So, you remember me now?" Min's throat tightened. I know I was wrong. Please, forgive me." "Forgive you? I lay beneath this water for 20 years, cold, alone, forgotten, and now you remember?" Her voice was calm, yet every word seeped into his heart like icy water. "I was just a boy. I didn't even know who you were. And that makes it less of a sin? What do you want from me?" The woman lowered her head. Droplets fell from her hair, hitting the boat one by one. "I want you to come down here, with me." Min's face went white. He stepped back, gripping the oar. "I can't. I still have my mother." "I had a mother too," she said softly. "She waited for me until her hair turned white. Do you know what that feels like?" Min bowed his head, tears streaming down his face. "Ko, I was wrong. If you still have any kindness left, let me make it right. I'll hold a ceremony, build a shrine, give you a name, incense, prayers, everything you deserve." She raised her head. Her eyes were milky, glowing faintly like a drowned moon. "Prayers can't wash away blood. Only a sincere heart can redeem it. Are you willing?" "I am, if it will bring you peace." Her form began to blur into the mist, leaving only her voice echoing through the wind. "At midnight, stand on the bridge, drop the wooden bracelet into the river. If I accept it, the water will calm. If not, the bridge will fall." A freezing gust howled across the river. The boat rocked violently. Min held on tight, face pale with fear. When he looked up again, she was gone. Only hundreds of water hyacinths floated upstream, against the current, drifting slowly toward the bridge as if pushed by unseen hands. Min's body trembled as he rowed back to shore. The dock was deserted, fireflies flickering faintly among the reeds. Then, from the shadows, a raspy voice called out, "You're back, son?" Min flinched. It was his mother, standing in the porch light, holding a small oil lamp. "Mom, why are you out here? It's cold. I heard your oar on the water. I was worried. Did you see her?" Min hesitated, then nodded faintly. "Yes, she came." The old woman's hand trembled, the lamp's flame flickering. "Don't speak of her again. Tomorrow, I'll go to the temple and make offerings. You don't go near the river anymore. Promise me." "Yes, Ma." But deep down, Min knew the promise was already broken. The appointment had been made. On New Year's Eve, there would be no escape. He looked toward Rainbow Bridge. The moonlight curved over each arch like pale, silvery veins, glinting against the water like streaks of blood. At the far end of the bridge, a figure stood waiting, a woman in white, her long hair lifting gently in the night breeze. She was waiting for him. New Year's Eve. The entire town held its breath. No laughter, no music, only the faint sound of the river sliding past the sandbanks. Like someone sighing in the dark. Min wore an old shirt, the agarwood bracelet hanging around his neck. His hands trembled as he carried a bundle of incense sticks, walking slowly toward the bridge. The cold wind whipped his face, carrying the scent of burning incense. Above, the full moon shone bright and flawless, strange in its stillness. When he reached the middle of the bridge, he stopped. Below, the river was black and motionless, not a single ripple. He whispered, "Ko, I'm here." A thin veil of mist crept over the water, wrapping the surface in silver fog. The incense crackled softly, its flame flickering red. Then, that familiar voice drifted through the air, faint, like a breath against his ear. "Do you remember your promise?" "I do. I came to keep it." "And what will you give in return?" "My sincerity. I just want you to rest in peace." The mist parted. There she was, the girl in white, standing upon the water, her feet not touching the surface. Her hair hung long and soaked, strands clinging to her face. The white dress shimmered under moonlight, her face blurred, but her eyes glowed faintly like twin embers. She spoke slowly. "I once dreamed someone would call my name. 20 years, and no one ever has." Min bit his lip, tears welling up. "What's your name?" "Han. My name is Han. Do you remember now?" The sound of that name crushed something deep in his chest. "Han, God, you're the girl from that night." She nodded slightly. "You caused my death, but I don't blame you anymore. I just want the river to stop thirsting." Min fell to his knees, palms pressed together. "Please, take this bracelet. It belonged to my grandfather, our family's bloodline. If you still care for your kin, end this curse. Don't take anyone else." He dropped the bracelet into the water. It sank slowly, not all the way down, hovering in the current, glowing faintly from within. The surface quivered, then stilled again. Han gazed at it, tears falling and merging with the river. "You still remember where you come from?" "No matter how far I fall, I never forget who I am." For a moment, the night was quiet. Then a gust of wind blew past, scattering the incense ashes into the dark. Han turned to him, her voice soft as smoke. "Then I'll forgive you, but someone else, I won't." "Someone else? Who?" "The man who poured oil into the river that night. He's the reason the boat capsized." Min froze. "It wasn't me?" "You only threw the rock. The boat didn't flip from that." "He poured oil. The oar slipped, and everyone drowned. You were blamed instead." Min's jaw dropped, heart pounding. "Who was he?" She didn't answer. Her gaze lifted toward the far bank. "You'll see him. When the New Year's firecrackers explode, his blood will fall into this river." Then her figure faded, dissolving back into the mist. Beneath the water, the bracelet rose again, glowing like a small, floating flame. Min stood frozen, mind reeling. From the opposite bank came hurried footsteps on the bridge, and a swaying flashlight beam. A gruff, familiar voice called out, "Min, that you? What the hell are you doing out here tonight?" Min squinted. It was old Tu Duok, once the owner of the ferry crossing, now rich and notoriously stingy. "Just lighting incense, for the dead," Min replied quietly. Tu Duok snorted. "At this hour? Those spirits don't deserve offerings. They died because they were stupid, no one forced them." Min stared at him, a chill crawling up his spine. Han's words echoed in his head. Asterisk. The man who poured oil. His blood will fall when midnight comes. The first fireworks burst in the sky. A red glow spread over the water. The wind howled, waves crashing against the bridge's supports. Tu Duok staggered, swearing, "Damn bridge, why's it shaking like this?" "Mr. Tu, move," Min shouted. But it was too late. A white blur swept past, wrapping around his legs. A splash echoed through the night. Then silence. Only the river's soft murmurs remained, and a single, dim light sinking slowly into the depths, right where the agarwood bracelet had floated moments before. Dawn was just breaking. The first rooster's crow of the new year echoed weakly through the morning mist. The whole town still shivered under the chill left behind by the final night of the old year. Then a scream tore through the quiet air. Someone's dead. Someone's dead under Rainbow Bridge. People rushed out of their homes. A few men paddled out in small boats and dragged a body ashore. The river water was red, thick with the smell of iron and rot. It was Mr. Tu Duok, his body floating face up, eyes wide open, mouth frozen mid-scream. Around his neck was a dark bruise, shaped like fingers that had squeezed hard. His wife, Mrs. Hai, fainted on the spot. The young men helping to pull him in trembled with fear. One whispered, "He couldn't even swim, how'd he end up falling in?" Another added, "I saw wet footprints on the bridge, from the middle all the way to shore. But it didn't rain last night, how could it be wet?" Everyone fell silent. Min stood apart from the crowd, his hands shaking violently as his eyes locked on the corpse. His heart pounded, his throat dry. "Kohan, you really did it, didn't you?" A cold wind swept past. His hair whipped across his face. In that wind, a whisper brushed his ear. "I didn't kill him, I only came to collect what was owed." Min froze, staring into the air. What did you say?" The voice faded, dissolving into the sound of the river's gentle lapping. The crowd murmured among themselves. "I heard old Tu used to run the ferry with Mr. Nam Lee back then." "Yeah, and when the accident happened, he disappeared. They say he was the one who poured oil into the water to make the boat slip, then blamed that poor boy instead." "That boy, wasn't that Min?" All eyes turned to him, wary, suspicious. Min's voice cracked. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." An older man sighed. "Son, let the river wash away what's past. He's dead now, maybe it's finally over." But Min knew it wasn't. The water had turned murky again, dark oil-like streaks spreading across its surface. Something moved beneath it. That night, after everyone had gone, Min sat alone by the dock. In his hand was the agarwood bracelet, now dulled with age and damp. The first moonlight of the new year spilled across the bridge, its reflection bending like a silver blade over the water. He whispered, "Ko, is it over now? He's dead, are you at peace?" A faint voice drifted back through the breeze. "There's one more." Min's head jerked up, heart hammering. "Who?" No reply. Only the reeds swaying in the wind, and somewhere in the distance, a girl's soft laughter rippled between the waves. From far off, Thay Ba's voice shouted, "Min, don't sit there, the water's rising." He turned to see the old man hurrying toward him, leaning on his cane, face pale as ash. "Thay, it's not over yet, is it?" Thay Ba stared at the river, his tone heavy as stone. "No, the river isn't calm, so the bridge isn't safe. One death isn't enough." Min stammered. "Then who's left, Thay?" The old man said nothing for a long time. His eyes drifted toward Min's house. "Some sins don't belong to others, they live in our own blood." Min's eyes widened, but before he could ask, the river beneath the bridge began to boil, white foam rising, churning wildly. From the center of the current, a pale figure emerged, her hair loose, her smile sorrowful. Han's dress glowed red with blood. Her eyes were closed as she lifted one trembling hand, pointing toward Min's home. Thay Ba stumbled backward, breathing hard. "She's showing, the last one." Min turned to look in that direction. His heart nearly stopped. On the porch stood his mother, gazing toward the river. Moonlight fell directly across her face, her eyes wide, glassy, clouded, like someone already lost to the dead. Min stood frozen, staring at his mother. She didn't move, her eyes were wide, glassy, fixed on the moonlight reflecting off the river's surface. He stepped closer, voice trembling. "Ma, what's wrong?" She didn't answer. Her frail hand lifted, pointing toward Rainbow Bridge. "She's back, Min, she's back." Her voice was hoarse, choking, like water trapped in her throat. Min grabbed her shoulders. "Who, Ma? Who's back?" Han, that girl from all those years ago." She lifted her face. The moonlight revealed a pale, ghostly complexion, lips tinged purple. "I've hidden something from you for too long." Min's stomach tightened. "What did you hide, Ma?" She sank weakly into a bamboo chair, her body trembling. "That year, old Tu Duok didn't pour the oil alone. I knew about it." Min's mouth fell open. You knew?" "Because I saw everything," she said, voice breaking. "That day, he came to our house, telling your grandfather to bring the oil to the bridge. Said it would make the boat glide smoother. I begged him not to. He didn't listen. When the accident happened, your grandfather drowned with the others." Tears rolled down her wrinkled cheeks. "I was terrified, so I lied. I told everyone he died from illness, to protect the family name. And when they blamed you, I stayed silent. I couldn't bear the shame of what he'd done." Min staggered back, breath catching in his chest. "Ma, then Aunt Han died? Because of Grandpa?" She nodded slowly, tears streaming. "Yes, our bloodline carries the curse. That agarwood bracelet, I kept it hidden from him. Thay Ba said one day, our family would have to pay. I thought it was just talk, but it's real. It's here." The river wind swept through the house. The oil lamp flickered once, then went out. Darkness swallowed the room. In the silence, wet footsteps echoed outside. Slosh, slosh, each sound heavy, dripping, like water falling from a body. Min pulled his mother close. "Get inside, Ma, lock the door." Her hands trembled. "It's too late, son, she's here." From the porch came 3 slow knocks. Then a soft, familiar voice. That same gentle tone that once haunted his dreams. "Ma, open the door for me? I'm so cold." His mother's face went white. She collapsed to the floor, sobbing. "That's her voice, Min, Han's voice." Min grabbed a wooden pole, shouting toward the door. "What do you want? I'm not afraid anymore." For a moment, silence. Then, the voice returned, weaker this time, trembling, like a child crying. "I don't want anything, I just want to come home." The door rattled violently. The lock clinked and shook. His mother clutched her chest, gasping. "Min, open the door. Please, she's our blood, don't leave her outside anymore." "Ma, no, open that door and we'll die." She shook her head slowly. "Then let it be. I'm so tired, son." Min stared at her, at the shaking door, torn between fear and grief. A blast of cold wind slipped through the cracks, snuffing out the candle flame. In the dark, slow footsteps approached. The smell of river water filled the room, sharp, metallic, freezing. Then, click. The lock snapped open. The door creaked wide. A drenched figure stood there. The girl in white. Her hair hung long and dripping, forming dark trails on the floor. She looked straight at the old woman. "Ma." Mrs. Hai burst into tears, stumbling forward. "Han, my child, I'm sorry. I wronged you. I wronged you so much." 2 hands met, one warm, one deathly cold. A faint mist rose between them as moonlight streamed in, illuminating the girl's faint, sad smile. She whispered, "Do you remember our promise, by the river?" The old woman nodded, tears shining. "I remember, Khan. Then it's time to go home, Ma." She tugged gently on her mother's hand. The old woman didn't resist. Min shouted, "Ma, don't go." He lunged forward, but a violent gust blasted through the door, throwing him backward. When he opened his eyes, they were gone. Only a puddle of cold river water remained on the floor, and the faint scent of agarwood lingered in the air. Min awoke inside the freezing house. On the dirt floor lay a puddle of murky water, with wet footprints leading toward the porch. The oil lamp had gone out, smoke still curling faintly in the air. He shivered, stood up, and looked around. His mother was gone. Outside, the wind from the river howled. The tin roof rattled. Min whispered, voice shaking, "Ma, where are you?" "Ma?" No one answered. Only the hoarse cry of a cat echoed from behind the banana trees. He stepped out, his feet pressing into icy wet prints on the floor. Step by step, he followed the trail to the riverbank. The moon hung high, full and pale, casting its light across Rainbow Bridge. The river rippled gently, but in the middle, he could see the faint shadow of someone rowing a boat. Min narrowed his eyes. A small wooden ferry. And on it, a man who looked exactly like him. The same face, the same shoulders, the same rhythm of rowing. He froze, heart pounding. "Hey, who's there? Who's using my boat?" His own voice echoed back across the water. No reply. The man kept rowing, slow and steady, until he turned his head. Under the moonlight, Min saw the face clearly, his own face. But with eyes black as ink. No whites at all. He stumbled backward, trembling. "Dear God, what is this?" The wind gusted through, making the bridge groan. From far away, a raspy laugh rose from the river's depths. Asterisk, ha, ha, give it back to the river. Min clamped his hands over his ears and screamed. "Shut up, I didn't kill anyone, I never wanted any of this." The river suddenly churned, white foam spilling over the banks. In the middle, the boat flipped over. A pale hand broke through the surface, reaching toward him. He cried out, "Ma!" Without thinking, Min dove into the water. It was freezing, thick with mud, and reeking of blood and rot. He swam toward the center, toward the hand that had vanished beneath the waves. But the farther he swam, the stranger it felt. The river stretched endlessly, the shore nowhere in sight. Something grabbed his leg. A cold, slick hand. Then a woman's voice whispered by his ear. "Come home, Min, we've waited so long." He kicked wildly. "Let go, I didn't do anything. You did, the sin of your father. Your grandfather, now it's your turn." Voices rose all around him, laughter, sobs, whispers blending with the current. Min thrashed in panic, his hand brushing against something solid, a paddle. He clutched it, pushing himself upward. Water gushed around him as he gasped for air and hauled himself onto the overturned boat. But when he looked up, his blood ran cold. Across from him sat the girl in white, her long hair clinging to her shoulders, smiling faintly. "It's time, Min, let's cross the river." He backed away, voice shaking. "What do you want from me?" "It's not me who wants it. The river does. The bridge does." "What are you talking about?" "Rainbow Bridge isn't just a bridge. Beneath every stone lies a bone. Anyone who crosses with sin, the river remembers their face." Min trembled, sweat mixing with the cold water. "Then what do I do now?" "There's no escaping it, but you still have one choice." "What choice?" "One life to cleanse 3 generations of guilt. Your mother's life is gone. Now only yours remains." He turned and saw her, his mother, standing midstream. She smiled gently, sorrowfully. "My son, don't be afraid. The one who bears the sin must bear the end. I've gone first, you'll come after. Then the river will rest." Min sobbed, tears mixing with the water. "I don't want to die. I'm still alive." The girl leaned forward and touched his forehead. "Not everyone who wants to live, gets to." A thick mist spread over the water, swallowing everything in white. From far away, the midnight drums of the new year echoed, slow, solemn. With the final beat, the boat sank quietly beneath the surface. And the river was still again. That year, after New Year's Eve, Min was never seen again. His boat drifted ashore. Only a broken paddle and a crushed conical hat remained. As for his mother, old Mrs. High, she too vanished. No body, no trace. The fishermen whispered that on foggy nights, they sometimes saw 2 silhouettes rowing a boat, one old, one young, gliding silently over the still water. By day, nothing. But when midnight struck on New Year's Eve, the sound of oars would echo slowly, rhythmically, across Rainbow Bridge. They said anyone who walked over that bridge at that exact hour and looked down into the river would see their reflection, but with no pupils in their eyes. Years later, the government built a new bridge, a wide concrete one with bright electric lights. Everyone in town rejoiced, saying the spirits would finally have nowhere to hide. But that very night, a group of drunken young men went to the old Rainbow Bridge to take pictures. They laughed loudly, shattering the quiet air. One of them sat on the railing, grinning. "Hey, watch me, if I catch a ghost. I'm posting it on TikTok." The flash went off. For a split second, the photo revealed a man wearing a conical hat, staring up from the river with a faint smile. The boys screamed, thinking it was a prank, but when they checked the picture again, the face of the boy who took it was gone, replaced by a warped reflection on the water. 3 days later, his body was found floating downstream, a tangle of water hyacinth vines strangling his neck. His eyes were wide open, as if still watching someone. After that, the old Rainbow Bridge was abandoned. The elders warned the children. Use the new bridge. Little ones, the old ones for the dead. And the ferrymen all remembered one line by heart. Min's boat carries no passengers, only souls. Whenever the river swelled and the wind rose, people would hear a man's voice calling faintly from the mist. "Wanna cross the river? Wanna cross?" A deep voice, calm, sorrowful, drifting from somewhere beyond the living world. Sometimes, they said, a girl in white appeared on the bow of the boat, her hair trailing in the water, her skin pale under the moonlight. Beside her stood a man in a conical hat, silently rowing, never speaking a word. One dawn, an old fisherman named Tu Hoi was casting his net when something bumped his boat. He pulled it up, it was a rotting wooden board. Faded words were carved across it. "Do not cross the river when the moon is full, **. His hands shook. He threw the board back into the water and fled. That night, he was burning with fever, muttering deliriously, "It's calling me, Min's calling me across." 2 days later, he died. Just before his last breath, he looked toward Rainbow Bridge and smiled faintly. "I've crossed the river." Now, the townsfolk have grown used to the sound of wars at midnight. They no longer fear it. They simply light incense by the shore and whisper softly. Let them rest. Let the river sleep. Rainbow Bridge still stands, moss-covered, cracked, like an old scar that never heals. And the river, whenever the wind blows, shimmers beneath the moonlight, as if hiding a secret smile. They say if you ever pass that way on New Year's Eve, and stand in the middle of the bridge to softly call, "Min oi, **. You'll hear a voice answer, close, real, almost beside you. "Wanna cross the river? **. And if you turn around, you might already be standing on the other side, without knowing when you crossed. Thank you for listening to this story on *Bong Toi Trong Dem, Darkness in the Night. If you ever dream of crossing Rainbow Bridge, don't look back. Because sometimes, the one calling your name isn't human at all. Disclaimer. This is a fictional ghost story, created solely for entertainment and atmospheric storytelling. We do not promote superstition, nor encourage any dangerous actions depicted in the tale. Any resemblance to real people, places, or events is purely coincidental. Thank you for supporting Bong Toi Trong Dem **.